Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Coach Stetzer here with your full body warm up. So, first and foremost, we need to remember that the warm up is essential for any good workout. We want to lubricate our joints, we want to get our heart rate up a little bit. We want to make sure our mind and our body is ready to execute the lifts that we're going to execute today with good form and safely. So, with that being said, let's jump into it. All right, so first and foremost, you want to start with the general warm up. I always say around 5 to 10 minutes, utilizing one of the cardio machines that you have access to. In this gym, we have treadmills and ellipticals, and that's pretty much it. But if you're at a big box gym, or if you're at maybe you have a better garage gym or a better apartment gym, you might have a stair climber, you might have an elliptical, a rower, a treadmill. You might have one of those climber mills, like whatever you might have at your gym. 5 to 10 minutes on a cardio machine, low intensity, basically just to get your blood flow warmed up or get your blood flow going and to break a sweat. All right. Second, about 3 to 5 minutes of foam rolling. This can kind of break up tissue that feels tight, kind of just help mobilize and make you feel less stiff. I always recommend that people do whatever makes them feel good, but I always roll my upper back, my T spine. Sometimes I kind of roll over it and then crunch back up slightly and roll over it, getting that full stretch of the T spine. Sometimes I roll until I find somewhere stiff and then spend a few seconds there. I always make sure to hit my quads, my hamstrings, my calves, and then my hips, all areas that tend to be tight or feel maybe slight discomfort when you come into the gym. So, really, 3 to 5 minutes doing some foam rolling that feels good to you. All right, first one of the day is the adductor stretch. So I'm going to set the microphone down, but hopefully you guys can still hear me. So you want to create some distance between your knees, um, and then put your heels together. And then what I want you to do is sit back into your heels, so pushing your tailbone towards your heels, and get a nice little stretch. And then you can kind of go into what we call a child's pose and extend the hands overhead and continue to push your hips back towards your heels. Number one. All right, so for this adductor stretch, you're going to be on your knees first. You're going to leave your left knee on the ground, extend your right knee out to the side, and then I'm going to set the microphone down so you guys can see what's going forward. Essentially, you're going to put two hands down, and you want to sit your glutes back into that heel that's down behind you. Get a stretch throughout the adductor, and then you want to rock forward and kind of thrust and squeeze your glutes. So almost like at the top of a hip thrust. And then come back into your heel and repeat that for a few repetitions on both sides. One. All right. Then we have book openers, which are really just a T-spine rotation stretch. What I like to do is, start laying on my side, kind of like I'm going to sleep. Extend your arms out like so. And then from here, what we want to do is take the top hand and bring the top hand's knuckles all the way over. And you want to try to touch the ground behind you and then bring the hands back together. So we're trying to keep our hips right where they are, and we're trying to rotate primarily from our thoracic spine or our upper back. So let me show you again. That's that. One. For the scorpion stretch, you want to go ahead and lie flat on the ground. We'll extend this mic up right here. Okay, allow it flat on the ground. You want to curl your leg up, so bring your heel to your bottom and then drop it over the opposite side, touching your big toe to the floor. Bring back, set it down, heel to buttocks, lift up, drop big toe to the floor, bring back together, and repeat. Heel to buttocks, drop over, touch big toe to the floor, bring back together. One. All right, we got the 90-90 hip series or hip stretch or hip mobility, whatever you want to call it. So essentially, we're going to have our feet kind of about hip width apart. And then we have, let me attach this to my shirt for you guys. So we will have both hands on the ground. For most people, you're going to drop the outside of your left knee and the inside of your right knee to the ground, creating 90 degrees with both legs. And then you want to control and rotate to the other side so that you are 90-90 on the other side as well. And we keep doing these 90-90 hip switches for 8 to 12 reps on each side or whatever feels good for you. Awesome. And one. All right, we have toy soldiers here. So if you ever seen like tin soldiers, toy soldiers, like on TV, or the Russians or the Chinese armies all together doing toy soldiers, you're gonna take your opposite arm, touch your opposite big toe, opposite arm, opposite big toe, doing toy soldiers, trying to keep your legs as straight as possible. Now, if you'd like to do same arm, same side, you can. Some people like that, but I like to do alternate arm, alternate hand or foot. Y'all get what I'm saying, and go for about 30 yards. One. All right, we got band pull-aparts. You're gonna grab a resistance band, whatever resistance band you have access to in your gym. Grab it, hold it about shoulder width apart where you have tension in the band. We're gonna pull it apart until it touches your chest. Come back together, controlled, but don't let the tension come out of the resistance band. Pull back open. You wanna find something that feels somewhat challenging, but you can keep decent form. Personally, this is a little too light for me, so I'd have to do some high repetitions here to get that engagement in my musculature in my upper back, but these are band pull aparts. All right, so we're gonna have to makeshift a band pull apart here, but you can tie it into some type of structure. Tie it in, and you'll step back. I have two handles here. You might only have one, in which you'll just pull the band apart, and then you are going to pull knuckles. Think knuckles behind your ears. Think field goal sign with your arms. Field goal sign with your arms, trying to engage the upper back. These would be face pulls. Or you can think about, if you have a regular band that's just one big loop, think about pulling the band to your eyebrows. Now, once you have a band or a cable set up on a structure, you can do your external rotations. So you want it to be resisting you. You're going to grab the band and then open your knuckles up towards the ceiling behind you. Let it come in controlled, open up. Try not to lift your elbow off your side, just external rotation of the shoulder. So taking those knuckles behind you, keeping the elbows peeled to your side. One. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the cat-cow. A lot of you guys might be familiar with. So what we're going to do is we're going to be on all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, hands about shoulder width apart, knees about hip width apart. We're going to tuck our chin and bring our spine to the ceiling, pushing the ground away from us, creating somewhat of a St. Louis arch of the spine. And now we're going to reverse that, driving your palms back towards your knees, creating some tension, turning those eyes up towards the ceiling, driving the chest into the floor, and repeating. Cool. One. We got some leg swings here. I like to do them from side to side first. So about 10 reps on each leg. Trying to keep my hips somewhat square with the ceiling, with the wall in front of me. And switching sides, doing these side to side lateral leg swings. Then you can stand to the front with one arm on the wall and swing forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, staying controlled, keeping your hips square on both sides. All right, arm swings. You guys did this in PE back in the days, so you should be somewhat familiar with it. We're just doing forward arm circles. These are what I call arm swings. I do forward arm circles, and then I do windmills. You can choose if you want to do 10 or 20 on each side. Do 10 or 20, just match it up with, if you do 12 on this side, do 12 on this side. If you do 20 on this side, do 20 on this side. With the forward arm circles, obviously those are together. You can do 10, 15, or 20, and then you can reverse them doing 10, 15, or 20, getting some blood flow in those shoulders. One. With the glute bridge, ladies and gentlemen, you want to have your heels about hip width apart, knees about hip width apart. I don't like to have my heels too close to my bottom. I don't like to have them too far away. If they're too far away, it's going to be too hamstring dominant. If they're too close in, you'll start to feel it more in your quads instead of the posterior. So find a nice middle ground, palms down on the ground. What we're going to do is we're going to tuck our tailbone under our bottom and squeeze our glutes like we're trying to hold in some doo-doo. So tailbone under, squeeze glutes, come down, tap. Tailbone under, squeeze glutes, tailbone down and tap. Squeeze glutes and tap. And you can do these for 10, 15, 20 reps, whatever you feel most comfortable doing to get some blood flow and turn on those booty muscles.